Morning Council meeting of the City of North Miami is called to order. We're going to ask Mr. Clerk to please do roll call.
Mayor Joseph,
Here.
Councilman Galvin,
Here.
Councilman Bieneme,
Here.
Vice Mayor Desume, Councilwoman Keys.
She's still eating.
Okay,
Oh my goodness.
I heard it here. So
Yeah.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
But here she is.
There she goes.
Yeah. You're not eating anymore? Oh. Let's proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. We are going to be led by Sergeant Crystal Thompson.
Please place your right hand on your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I think we should remain standing while Pastor Ude Ogali comes forward and lead us in invocation.
Good evening, Mayor, councilmen and women, and everybody who has taken time out to come in here to do the business of the big city of North Miami. Shall we please pray? Heavenly Father, we want to thank you. We thank you for a day such as this. This is the day that you have made, a day for us to rejoice and be glad in you, a day in which in our nation we could call a day of unity. This day we have witnessed, oh Lord, that in spite of all that the enemy intended to do, you have used it to bring your people together. Father, we thank you for what we have witnessed, where people in opposition came together in one accord just to have a discussion to move your nation forward. Father, we pray for that level of unity even upon North Miami in Jesus' name. Lord, we hand over to you tonight this meeting, and we ask that you release your wisdom upon this house, wisdom to deliberate upon the affairs of this city, and in unity, in one accord, arrive at conclusions that will push the city forward. Father, we are praying for safety even upon this house. And we thank you for all you have done for sustenance, for upholding this city, for the future of this city. For all of these, we thank you in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor. We may be seated now. The next order of business is to set the agenda. At this time, we will ask the manager if there is any amendment, deletions, or additions to please do it now.
None at this time, sir.
Thank you very much. So it is my understanding now, Mr. Attorney, that the agenda is now set, and we may proceed. We have two special presentations, and the members of the council, we're going to go down. Huh?
I had one, I wanted to, for discussion, just tab B, but I think that never mind, I think we already, is that the item? Okay, right, never mind.
Tab B to be removed.
No, that's fine, that's fine. I think we covered it during our pre-meeting, that's fine.
Okay. We'll go down for the presentation. Again, good evening. We have a first presentation It's a certificate of appreciation presented to the City of North Miami, the Police Department, and Parks and Rec for the Relay for Life event that was done. And at this time, we will ask Ms. Shirley Sokol to please come forward and make the presentation.
Good evening.
Did I pronounce your name right?
Shelley Sokol. Yeah,
Sokol.
correct.
Yeah. Okay.
You're right. Good evening, folks. Oh, excuse me. I thought my voice was loud enough. I'm a Toastmaster. I can project. Good evening, fellow members of the council and all guests. My name is Shelley Sokol. I am the lead volunteer for Relay for Life for the American Cancer Society, and I'm here to present a certificate of appreciation to the City of North Miami for the North Miami Biscayne Park, North Miami Beach, and Miami Shores Relay for Life for 2016, as well as to the North Miami Police Department and the City's Parks and Rec Department. We'd like to thank them for all their support and all their help for everything they did for us. They provide the showmobile every single year for us and the sound system. So I am really grateful for that. And we raised over $18,000 this year for our relay, and we're still raising funds. And we're hoping that everyone in this room may be involved next year, because I am also the event lead again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The police officers and Parks and Rec. There you go. And I'll just stand here and smile. Thank you. Thank you.
So Parks and Rec can stay because
You got it? No problem. Thank you.
we also have another special presentation for the Department of Parks and Recreation. This month is Parks and Rec month, so as you know, every single event that is executed, they always say it starts with the police department, right? Oh, it starts from Parks. Where does it end? So pretty much, I mean, whenever we have events, you see people come to the podium, they talk and they laugh and we have fun, and we never think about who set everything up and who leaves, last, after the event is over. So it's always Parks and Rec. So for that, my hat is off, to you, Mr. Director. And I know you're doing a great job, and our parks looks very beautiful, and our events, they are always impeccable. I shouldn't say impeccable. It's only God that is impeccable. But Parks and Rec is definitely trying. You don't want me to read the whole thing, do you? All right. Thank you very much. That's it? The next presentation is the annual. Do you want the audit now? Do you want to do the audit report? Yes. Okay. The CAFA report, which is going to be done by Harvey Covington and Thomas LLC. Yeah.
Good day, Mayor, Council Member, City Manager, City Attorney, City Clerk. My name is Roderick Harvey. I am the engagement partner with HCT. I also have on our team, or we brought from our team, our summer intern, which is RJ Harvey. We also brought Thomas Williams, a staffer, senior accountant, Charles Dougal, a senior accountant, and also our quality reviewer, Mr. Alan Cohen. So I thought it was important that you also get to see not only myself, but the folks who do the hard work and the lifting to get your audit done for you. We will spend a few minutes today going through our presentation. The order of our presentation will be the audit opinion. We will go over a financial summary. We'll do a comparison of where we started and where did we end. We'll look at the financial conditions as set out by the state of Florida. And then also we'll review the management letter comments. Based on our audit procedures and audit techniques, we are issuing an unqualified audit opinion, which means the statements are fairly presented in accordance with GAAP. So let's talk numbers. If you look at the general fund, and remember, we're talking about the year ended September 30, 2015. Fund balance, $3.7 million. Total government funds, $33.4 million. And our proprietary fund net position, $73 million. Moving forward to what I call the sexy statement, our money comes in and our money goes out. So let's look at how did our money come in. In the general fund, revenues came in at the tune of $51.6 million. We expended $54.6, which left a decrease in fund balance of $2.9. All funds of the city, total revenue came in to the tune of $64 million, expenditure $67, our debt service payments $1.7, which left a negative change in fund balance of $3.1 million. Business type funds, again, how did our money come in? To the tune of $37.1 million. We expended $28.9 and left a positive change in net position on the proprietary funds of $8.1. For this year, we tried to do something a little different, which was to give a 3-year spread, and I won't go through all of the numbers, but it is here so you can see how the city has moved over the last 3 years. The percent changes show the percent change from 14 to 15. So you can see our entity-wide net position changed a negative 22%. Unrestricted changed 1,450%. We'll talk about that a little. When you look at fund balance, a change of 17%, negative change. Unassigned fund balance increased 108. Enterprise fund had a change of 5%, and unrestricted net position changed at 61%. The reason for this is there was a monumental GASB that put forth and came through this year, which the folks or the gods in New York decided that all governments should account for the unfunded amount of their pension plans. And so, as you can see, the city had a liability of $45.8 million. We only report that amount on the government-wide financial statements. What I also wanted to reflect is the total pension liability, our pension position. But as policymakers, I would ask you to focus on how have you funded that liability. You can see in one of the funds, you have funded to 69% rounded, and on the other fund to 80%. Okay, Harvey, that's nice. Give me a metric. They say if you have funded your liability at 60 or 70%, you are doing good. So you can see based on these amounts as reflected that, based on the benchmark, that we've done pretty well. Now for our report or our update on the prior period comments that we gave, and I'll run through these relatively quickly. You can see that comment number 1, which was actually a repeat comment from 13, was implemented. You can see that the first comment for 14 was implemented. You can see that the management letter comment 2, that comment is being rolled forward. So now we're going to talk about our current year comments. Our first comment deals with material adjustments being posted. Management agrees with the finding and will implement the recommendation in the coming year. Our management letter comment 2 deals with utility billing. and being able to invoice at a certain interval. Management agrees with our recommendation, and they give some other commentary. Inventory is the matter of our third management letter comment, which deals with a discrepancy between what was on hand and what was actually counted. Management again agrees with that finding and will implement strategies in the coming year. Our comment number 4 deals with entity-wide policies and procedures and the city being able to present those to us. Management disagrees with the finding, but the city as a whole has existing policies and procedures. In the existing format, the document may seem fragmented. Nonetheless, these documents have been used by the city for many years. The policies and procedures manual for the finance department in particular are being updated and available for audit and review. So that is management's response to our comment 4. And moving on to the final comment, which is improper accounting of expenditure reporting. Again, this deals with the grants and grant reimbursement. Management concurs with our recommendation and will meet with the relevant divisions to assess staffing requirements. We also wanted to spend just a little bit of time, and I'll move through this quickly, but this is the financial condition assessment as set out by ratio analysis using the benchmark group from the Auditor General. These are critical indicators, and you can see the first indicator, the city has a favorable mark. Indicator number 2 is also favorable. When you look at the next indicator, which is critical, is unfavorable. The 4th indicator is favorable. And if we look at this holistically, I would ask you, I think there's a total of 29 ratio indicators that the state of Florida Office of the Auditor General puts out. We can see that 13 are favorable, 3 are unfavorable, 6 are inconclusive, and 7 we don't meet the metric to calculate them at all. So we wanted to give you this ratio analysis at this time. Mr. Mayor, that concludes our audit presentation. If you will allow, or if time allows, as best as possible, I will and the team of HCT try to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harvey. At this time, we will entertain questions from the dais or comments. Councilwoman?
Yes, so all the information that you had on the screen is in this book?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because there were a couple unfavorable comments, there was some disagreement by staff, which it's kind of hard to see from here, so I just want to make sure we can go back. Are there compliance issues we need to going forward?
Let me clean up one response. The ratio analysis that we perform, the FCA, is not in your CAFR book. I can provide that through the manager, through the finance director, no problem. The management letter comments is included in your book, so you will be able to find those. As it relates to the third part of your question, which is compliance issue, grant compliance issues, we don't have, did not detect any major grant items or issues.
Mr. Mayor, if you will allow me to add to that, the compliance items or the management letter comments that were cited by our external auditor must be addressed per statute. If we get a repeat finding, then there's a formal reporting, and I believe, Mr. Mayor, you recall this year, from last year, we had a repeat, and you received a notice from the Joint Legislative Audit Committee that we had to respond to. So in order to prevent that from happening going forward, and they're very diligent about their oversight, as you can tell, because they sent 2 letters when we were 3 or 4 days late in responding to the first one. But we will be addressing all of those issues. In fact, related to the grant finding, you already saw that we brought the CBO and the plan allocation already to the council ahead of time, so we are already implementing many of those changes. Just wanted to put that on the record.
So pretty much we're breaking the cycle of being late so that we can be better students.
Correct, sir.
Okay. Bring our homework on time.
Mr. Mayor, I was going to say that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody's staff, everybody who was involved. This is the first time. This is the first time in multiple years that we've gotten the CAFR not only on time, but normally we're getting it a year late even. So I tip my cap to everybody who put so much work into this to get it done so quickly.
Amen to that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, if you allow me, I have one question for you, sir. In reviewing the pension liability, you talked about the 45 million. Is that in detail in this presentation?
Yes, sir. You will find that in your government-wide statements, which will be on page 23 and page 24. Basically, page 23 is the
23.
focus on 23.
Got it.
And also note 10, footnote 10.
Footnote
10 and 23.
No, footnote 10.
Page 23 for the financial statement, and footnote 10, which starts on page 86.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
One last question.
Good.
Not having a chance to study this, we had a negative 2 million outflow, or our expenses were greater by approximately 2 million in excess of our revenue. Where did that money come from, and why did we have that negative 2 million?
Okay. I want to go back to that. I want to answer on multiple levels. Because we reflect a $2 million deficit does not mean that $2 million in cash left the building. Based on this year in particular, with the booking of the GASB 68 and the accrual accounting, most cities, I wouldn't say all just because it's not proper, but 90% of most cities are showing a deficit and showing a lowering of net position. And so that's what we have for this year. So based on the trend, the loss we're showing is actually not bad for what we had to record this year.
So it's related to a liability that wasn't shown before as opposed to an expense?
That's correct. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
If I can add to that, and I think Harvey was at the FGFOA with us as well, we're going to, over the next, I think, 18 months, GASB is instituting about 5 or 6 more GASB pronouncements that will continue this trend of showing what were previously off-book liabilities and running them actually through our P&L, which gives you the appearance of loss, but it's not our core operating loss. It's for financial presentation purposes, and it's so that users of the book can understand, hey, by the way, don't forget they have a $45 million pension liability, and hey, don't forget one of the new ones relates to TIF, which will affect us. By the way, you have a TIF agreement with 5 businesses into their city that is kind of giving them a tax rebate. So there's going to be more, and what we'll do is try to give you some education as we go through the audit process for next year.
Yes.
Thank you very much. At this,
have a question,
taking
Mr. Mayor.
you have some comments. Go ahead.
And you talked about grant compliance that need to be addressed with staff. Can you give us some more details?
With the grant compliance, we've had issues with, and I'm going historic, with the grants being not having enough people to really make sure. We've had findings in the past which have been cleared. So this finding that relates to the grants compliance, and I'm trying to get back to it. Timeliness. Okay, so the timeliness of the reimbursements and making sure we get those recorded properly is what the essence of our finding is. So we feel comfortable that the adjustments will be made with the additions of staff to get this under control.
What does it mean? Go ahead.
So, if you will, through the mayor, when we're doing our CDBG reporting, when we get to I guess the way we were structured before, we have compliance reports that need to be turned in. Because of how we were timing everything, the reimbursement requests for the last quarter were being sent fairly late like maybe 90 days later than they needed to be, thus getting into the audit time frame when they're in the field, and so they have to cite it. So what we're doing, we are backing those things up, starting the fiscal year sooner, and changing some of our procedures so that we're able to get those reports out, or those reimbursement requests out and back in a timely manner. So I would characterize them as properly noted by the auditor. It is not a devastating finding. It's just something that we just need to improve on. It's a process improvement that we need to make.
All right. If there is no more question or comment from the dais, we'll thank you very much, Mr. Harvey.
Thank you, sir.
And it's a pleasure listening to you for your eloquent presentation.
Thank you, sir.
And the next item is a city events announcement by our PIO, Ms. Timothy.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and members of the public. Cassandra Timothy, Public Information Specialist, and I have the pleasure of sharing all of the exciting events coming up in the city of North Miami. This summer, the entire family is invited to read for the fun of it at the North Miami Public Library. Enter the summer reading contest for your chance to win fabulous prizes by simply reading throughout the summer. Pick up your first reading log and meet special book characters. Enjoy entertainment programs, storytelling, and more all summer long at the library. Grab your blankets, lawn chairs, and come sit under the stars at Griffin Park and enjoy a free screening of Star Wars: The Force Awakens on Friday, July 15th at 8 p.m. Movie begins at sundown. Jazz at Mocha is South Florida's longest-running outdoor jazz concert series. Enjoy these free performances on the last Friday of every month in the Mocha Plaza. On Friday, July 29th, enjoy Brazilian jazz featuring Rose Max Samba Party. Each year, the mayor hosts a summer donation drive to collect new book bags and school supplies to distribute to students at the start of the new school year. New supplies including backpacks, pencils, notebooks, and more are needed. Donations are being accepted through the end of July at City Hall. Mayor Smith Joseph will be distributing backpacks filled with supplies at the Back to School Bash and Resource Fair on Saturday, August 6th at the Joe Sellicing Center. The fun begins at 10 a.m. Stay tuned by watching our free governmental programming, NOMI TV, available 24 hours a day through the city's website, www.northmiamifl.gov. Like the City of North Miami on Facebook, follow at NOMI News on Twitter, and download the My NOMI mobile app. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Timothy. I don't know if we have any hurricane preparedness presentation. There is none.
No updates today, sir.
Okay, at this time, we'll ask for a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Oh, yes.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the consent agenda. That motion was then seconded by Councilwoman Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab D is in dog. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the city administration's competitive selection of Luminal General Contractor, LLC, and Pioneer Construction Management Services, Inc., as the lowest responsible contractors to furnish all materials, equipment, tools, machinery, supervision, expertise, and services required for the replacement and installation of sidewalks at locations designated by the city manager, further authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute agreements with both contractors for a combined annual amount not to exceed $250,000 in accordance with the terms, conditions, and specifications contained in the citywide sidewalk replacement project, IFB number 05-15-16, as amended, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Okay, at this time, if there is any presentation from staff, we will entertain it.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, Alberto Estrade, Purchasing Department. What you have before you is a recommendation from staff to award 2 contracts in response to a solicitation that was issued on May 20th, 2016 for the for seeking proposals for citywide sidewalk repairs and replacements. Staff received 8 responses, 8 bids that were submitted, and after application of the city's local vendor preference, the 2 lowest responsive and responsible bidders were the firm of Luminel General Contractor and Pioneer Construction Management Services. It is the recommendation of staff that these 2 firms be awarded. The contract calls for a combined not-to-exceed amount of $250,000. It is a 1-year contract with 2 additional years to renew, 2 options to renew for the council to renew.
Okay, one question, I guess one rectification. Mr. Attorney, during our meeting, you did point out the fact that the lowest bid was $3.77 per square foot, right? Is it per square foot? Linear foot. Per square foot.
Actually, Mayor, I was just asking the manager about that. Again, he has an explanation that he'd like to give.
419 versus...
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I clarified it. In speaking with staff yesterday, the ranking number that you see there was adjusted. If you look at the top of the column, it does say adjusted. They applied the local preference adjustment to the per square foot figure for the purpose of ranking. The company's actual hard bid was the cost per was the 419, which was the lowest bid. So that's why you see the difference.
The lowest bid was which one?
So if you look at the first column in the backup, let me turn to it quickly.
It says bids adjusted for local vendor preference.
Correct.
Okay.
So they took the proposed per square foot number and applied the discount, or applied a discount to it based on the local preference for the purpose of ranking. But their actual dollar bid is the 419. And that's why you see the 419 is being stuck to for both Luminol and...
But did the Luminol propose 377?
No,
No, that's
their proposal is 419.
They proposed 419.
Mr.
Yes.
Mayor, if I may, what happens with the application of the local vendor preference is that it is applied to whether it's a bid or an evaluation score for purposes of ranking only, for purposes of ranking. Then after that application occurs and that ranking occurs, the actual bid amount is what is awarded, which is what you see there, the $4.19.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead. Well, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Should we go to the public before we...
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So at this time, we'll ask anyone in the audience, if you have any comments or suggestions for this item, please come forward to the mic and speak your mind. There are 2 companies being considered to do sidewalks. Is it repair or new sidewalks? Repair, right? Replacement?
It's both repairs and replacement also,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Yes, Sylvia Mayola, 100 Northeast 124th Street. And my concern is I did a back porch in my house and very large patio. And I pay for the cement 6 inches thick, much less than this. I pay about, maybe for the whole cement, $1,500. And there are more than 600 square feet. And I believe you can get better price. I don't know about just to make one street, but it's better.
Will the sidewalks be affecting that that property?
I made a...
She's saying that she got a better deal in her project than we're getting.
Oh, okay.
I said $1,500 for
Yeah, I'm sorry.
more than 600 square feet. I don't know if you hear me well, so no, something. but I don't know about cement, concrete, or pavement. What is the difference? But when you make a shop just in large scale, it's supposed you have better price. Another thing, I live across the street. They said, we make beautiful your street, and they make from 8 to 9 some drainage. It never was water over there. I don't know what they built the drainage. And it's a hole in front of my house with a drainage that it was never this hole before, and my grass next to the sidewalk is a hole on the street facing my house, very low, maybe 10 inches lower than the regular the level of the street. I think if you get some people to work in North Miami, get a good company, somebody who can do a good job. If for our city, we have to do the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Robert Hughes at 1150 Northeast 123rd Street, and I just have an observation to make when submitting the bids too, and I have to agree with her, because the depth of the sidewalk is as important as the square footage, and a lot of times vehicles park on sidewalks and they break sidewalks, and a lot of times when sidewalks are replaced, the swale area is substantially lower than the sidewalk, such as there is on 121st Street in 11th Place. So the sidewalk will break. So just an observation that if they're going to be repairing sidewalks, that the swales should be graded up to the sidewalks so that the sidewalks don't break. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is now closed on the item. We will now come back to the dais for any further discussions. Go ahead. Go ahead.
This question, I think, is for the director as well as the manager. The two separate attachments that we received, are they associated with this tab?
They are the two companies.
No. I'm talking about the attachments, the two attachments. That
Yes.
we received.
Earlier today, we provided
One
some
of them or
additional.
two?
No, we provided two additional pieces of information. One was a listing of potential road projects and sidewalk projects. That was something that was asked by you and your colleagues in my individual briefings. The other packet is some additional information about the location, some of the references of the two companies that we are awarding, just for additional information for you.
No, that I got, and I want to thank the director for providing that information. At last meeting, I mentioned it. No, this particular, because I have a list as well. I don't know if, because I've been out and as well with Janice going around looking at different sidewalks and some calls that we're getting. So I didn't know if this is part of that, because I see one list that's under the sidewalk to be improved as of 7/11. I'm a little confused. So I was yesterday. So this is all you have within
This was the list of projects that were identified in the pipeline by our Public Works Department as of July 11, 2016.
Okay, and this is my problem. I went out alone with Janice. We had identified over 11 streets. Some of them were big and some were not. So how did they end up with two roads over there?
You went out with somebody from the...
Janice went out.
Okay.
Because some folks were getting some calls on 119th, North Miami Avenue was some. So there's some, and we took pictures.
Okay.
Some of them we emailed through administration. So I'm just trying to determine how they came up with two roads. Well, not two roads, but two addresses from 131st to 135th and between 7th and 10th, which really could consider I guess 4 blocks, but if you count the avenues, you got another 4 there, and then 125th Street running to 123rd. So the residential is not being touched. Well, some of these are residential.
So my understanding, these are projects that have been dated on?
They were previously identified to the department as street projects that were in the pipeline to be worked on or addressed. So if there's some missing, I guess my response to you is, if there are any additional that are missing, we can get with your office and see what those are, and we can, the point was to be able to, if they've been identified and funded, address them via this contract proposal that's before you. Because I don't think there's, this list, there was no formal approval of all of these things. These were streets that were identified via our day-to-day operations and issues that were identified, correct?
Correct. Whistler Pierre Lewis Public Works Director through the manager. These locations, well, I'll start off by saying that we have a limited amount of money to address the locations. We have complaints that come in daily. We track those locations, put them on the list, and we try our best to address them as they come in. I know that 119th and I believe North Miami Avenue was mentioned. Those two locations don't fall under the city's jurisdiction. We would refer them to either the county or the state. However, we do have complaints that were on, well, I won't mention the specific addresses, but these blocks are based on complaints that we received, and we are trying to address them based on the amount of funds that we have. We know that there are other locations, however, this is what we can address at this time.
Mr. Mayor, you need to address, now we're talking about sidewalks, not the repaving.
This is what we're talking about, sidewalk to be improved as of 7/11.
Okay. And when it comes to the sidewalk, right, the street concerning my district are streets that has been identified by the residents, by myself, and by Ferdinand, and we bring it before you. That's when it's been months. It's not something new. Those streets have been waiting for almost a year, and every year with the half penny, when we get some money and you decide what street are considered emergency or street that need to be repaired for sidewalks.
Even with that being said, Mr. Manager, those he had identified was already completed under a different RFQ for District 2 and District 3. Yet District 1 and District 4, which only have 2, which I'm not even going to mention tonight. So I'm lost for words. So just let's leave it there.
Keep in mind, we're not approving the individual streets. We were asked what streets had been identified in the pipeline, so we wanted to provide that information. What we're approving tonight is the actual contract, which is the conduit for us to actually get this work done. We can have
only these ones that are
no. It could be any. It could be future ones that are identified. I just provided you with a list of the streets that the department said had been previously identified. That's it. So, and that was the request I'd gotten through the briefings.
Okay.
So not specifically related to, we're only funding these streets with this contract. The contract will be approved, so now we have the vendor that can do the work. We can meet with you individually. If you want us to bring an item of discussion, we can prioritize. We can do anything that the council wishes to do with regards to process, but the way that this has been working is yourselves, your office staff that are on the streets, your council aides, you go out, you've all actually have identified various issues to me, and we try to address them piecemeal. Which is the reason why I brought the item last time about the whole citywide approach and kind of changing this angle, because we'll find ourselves, I'm not going to be on the wrong side of any of you on, oh, I wanted this street versus that. So that's why we're changing the approach. But we want to make sure we do it on dual tracks. So whatever was there, we'll keep going and then do the assessment of the rest.
Now it's $250,000, right?
Right.
For these sidewalks for 2 companies. Is the fund going to be divided equally, or is it whoever can work faster can tap into the money, and the faster you work, the more you actually get from the pot? How is it going to work?
I believe it's at our discretion, right? So there's no
Yep.
even split, there's no dollar limitation. We
So
can
it's
go
as they go,
as they go, and that was the reason why we wanted to at least award at least 2 companies, so we can have simultaneous work going on at the same time.
Okay,
I have a question, Mr.
go ahead.
Did you put an IFP or an IFQ?
No, it was, excuse me, Councilman, it was an IFP, it was a bid, an invitation to bid. It was based solely on the bid prices that were
For
submitted.
qualified company or just to identify the?
The companies have to be responsive and responsible, and that's been verified for both of these companies.
Okay, but you choose that company for 250,000 for those sidewalks, and you ask us to sign a contract for 2 years. Why
Well,
is that?
Okay, just
If you're
to,
not doing a qualification.
again, just to echo what the city manager has said, this contract is a combined total not to exceed of $250,000 a year, and the work will be issued at the discretion of staff as necessary, and also will be performance-based. If you perform, you get more work. You don't perform, you don't get more work.
Yeah, but usually when you do, when you're doing the pool, you identify 5, 6, 7 companies, and then you split the work based on the fund available.
Oh, what this
But
was,
in-
was a solicitation seeking bids, and the recommendation of staff, councilman, is to go with the 2 lowest responsible bidder. It certainly is at the discretion of the council. If the council chooses to recommend to award a greater amount than 2,
No,
This
that's not what it is. My question is,
It's
okay,
not a pool.
you have 250,000.
Hold on,
You 250,000. You are rewarding 2 companies for that work. But why you said 1 or 2 years contract?
well, the contract is initially for 1 year.
If I may,
Yeah.
Councilman Mayor, this is an invitation to bid. This was not a pool. So we could have awarded the contract to one company. The idea was we wanted to create some competition among the companies.
That's not my question. Why a 2 years contract? That's my question.
From a term?
Instead of just a contract to do the work.
A contract has to have a term. It has to have a term. It could have been 1 year term, or it could have been 2 year term, but the
It's
contract
not
normally has a
term.
term.
Okay, you have $250,000, right? To do sidewalks only, right?
No, let me address that. And I think I see where you're going. You're saying the dollar amount you're thinking the dollar amount is a limitation,
Yeah.
the only limitation. No, I can come back to this board at any time and say, we have exhausted this dollar limitation. Remember, the dollar limitation was imposed by ordinance onto the city manager by the council, by ordinance. When we have these 2 contractors that for a year or whatever the term is, are the 2 approved vendors that we're going to use to do this work.
For 2 years.
For 2 years.
Exactly. That's mean for the next fiscal year, you have 500,000 for sidewalk,
or it
you
could
cannot
be-
choose the same 2 companies.
or it could
since
be-
they have a 2 years contract.
It could be $1 million depending on if I come back and say, they've done the work and I'm going to come back and ask for your permission to do
No, that's
more.
not what-
No,
No.
It's okay, hold on. Are you finished, Mr.?
I'm talking about a contract with
got
the
it.
company to do the work for an amount not exceed $250,000.
Per year.
Period. But let's see, next year with the half penny, we want to do sidewalk. We have to open in again. But if you sign a 2 years contract with them, that's when you got to go to the same 2 companies.
When can you
That's what I'm
terminate?
talking
When
about.
can you terminate?
well, not terminate.
Not terminate.
I think
Why,
I thought you were either going to do a pool where you have 10, 15 companies, or
You say-
5 or 4, and then every time you have sidewalk, you have money for sidewalk, then you pick one of them.
That was not the type of solicitation. that we-
Exactly. Why 2 years contract with the same company?
Okay, if I can interject, I guess the solution would be to have a contract to cap it at the 250.
Not to exceed 250.
Not to exceed 250 period.
Yeah.
But not for 2 years.
The term, not a 2 years contract.
Like you could have the term.
Yeah.
When you're going to sign with them, you're going to assign them an amount of time to do the
Just-
work.
yeah.
But not a 1 year,
Yeah.
2 years contract.
We have Councilman Galvin, I want to say
Okay.
something.
Yeah, so I think, going forward, I think I get what Councilman is trying to say.
He doesn't want to.
If we could just limit it to
dollar balance.
Yeah, limit it to 250 period. Once they get to 249,
And it's out.
It's done.
If we have money, if we
Kaput.
we open it up.
Mr. Galvin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Mr. Galvin.
If you wanna, can you
Yeah.
award it?
Mr. Galvin has this mic now.
Sure, I just want to let him finish this. That's okay. I like the list, actually. I'm thrilled to see some of the places in my district that I suggested included. If this is approved as it stands tonight, how long until we get all of this done? Because everybody who's on the list will be like, yes, tomorrow my sidewalk is going to get fixed, and I want to be able to communicate, actually, it's a window of between now and in date.
Councilman Galvin, each one of these work orders that will be assigned to these contractors has a period of time, time certain, and most of them are typically about 90 days that they have to complete the work. But again, it depends. It depends on the scope may vary from one section or the other to the
And it could rain. I mean, I get all of those variables, but I need an end time, approximately an end time to when I can say, wow, you're thrilled to see that your street is included here. But give me until when to get it done?
What I'd like to do on that, since we've not spent a lot of time programming this, get back and give an official report to the council.
Okay.
As opposed to giving you a
Okay.
guess
Hey,
for 90 days.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, sir. Mr. Manager, one thing Councilman Bename mentioned, and then you, I think either it was answered, I don't understand the answer, I just want a clarification. I thought last week we were getting, these vendors were already in a vendor pool. Remember, I think last year or something, we approved, that's something totally different. Okay, now my next part to the question, instead of, just moving forward, just think about this, and the resident who made it very clear, and I do agree with her in some way, can we get an RFQ instead and say this is what we have, and where firms who do reside or are officed in North Miami at least will get an opportunity. You say this is what I have, give you a qualification if you could do the work, versus this, because you have some firm here, you have 3 firms, one of them located in North Miami. Obviously his price was way higher when you did the bid, opposed to you could have had a qualification on basis, and then you'll have these 2 firms where you'll have a better chance, because they don't really mean nothing to give them the residential the local preference.
When we start looking at these, I will certainly take that into a policy consideration, that we do pools as opposed to the bid.
Okay.
And those have more subjective quality elements to them, and then we can do the pool, but that's not a problem.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other? No? If there is no more discussion, Mr. Clerk, I guess we'll go to a vote.
May I have a motion, please?
Oh, there is a
Tab
motion.
D?
Move approval?
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item. That motion was then seconded by Councilman Bieneme.
That's with the amendment to remove the 2-year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are not final.
Yeah. Michael. Yeah, the amendment is to remove the 2-year and to cap it at 250.
So the motion's made by Councilman Galvin. That motion was seconded by Councilman Bieneme. Just for the record, it is the motion and second was to include the amendments as stated on the record. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab E. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the city administration's competitive selection of Metro Express, Inc. and H&R Paving, Inc. as the lowest responsible contractors to furnish all materials, equipment, tools, machinery, supervision, expertise, and services necessary for the provisions and placement of hot mixed asphalt for resurfacing streets, alleyways, and other public right-of-ways in accordance with the terms, conditions, and specifications contained in the invitation for bid asphalt laid in place IFB number 35-15-16, further authorizing the city manager to issue purchase orders to selected contractors on an as-needed, when-needed basis for a combined annual amount not to exceed $300,000, annual amount not to exceed $300,000, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Through the mayor, this item is exactly almost a companion item to the previous item, except this one is focused on sidewalks.
No.
Asphalt, I'm sorry.
We paved.
This is streets. Similar to the previous item, we provided a supplement that has the detailed information on the two companies, and we also provided, as we just discussed, the list of the streets that were already in the pipeline. Again, it's not specific to those items, but these are the streets that have been identified. So we ask for your full consideration.
Again, what's the gentleman's name again who made the comment? Earlier. Yeah, if we could do the projects like in tandem, like where we doing the sidewalks, if we do simultaneously the streets as well, because a lot of time you do the sidewalks. I'm just going to have to repeat what he said. You do the sidewalk, it's about, it goes up a certain level above the ground, and you have the swell areas. The sidewalk may be beautiful, but the swell area is kind of messed up. It's like a beautiful woman with a nice hat, but and then
Be careful.
no, a handsome man. A handsome man
Skirt,
with a beautiful shirt, and then the pants look ragged. So yeah, I mean, the sidewalks here should be accompanied with the swell areas and maybe the streets as well. So I think going forward, if we could consider that, that would be a great idea.
The
analogy is about a man.
Yeah, no, I got it. But the coordination between sidewalk and street and what we need to do. I got you.
And you remember that happened on 127, and they did pass the inspection, and we did the inspection for the sidewalk after it been done.
The inspections for the sidewalks are done by Public Works.
Okay, but how did you approve those sidewalks with those and driveway approach like that, where the sidewalk is higher than the driveway approach?
I'm not aware of the specific location that you're referring to.
Yeah, but I called the city managers. You remember on 127 between from 6th Avenue to Griffin Boulevard. I called you, and he was at a meeting. You were there, and the city manager was there, and asked you to go and do the inspection. Maybe you didn't go.
I don't recall going to that.
Okay, since you don't recall, we're going to give you a few minutes to talk about it.
For me, because we were at a meeting with the city manager, and we addressed that.
However, if there is an issue, we
I'm
will.
sorry. Let's go to the public.
Okay.
And that's to his advantage. To at least I'm giving you 5 minutes to think about it. I'm all for you, man. Public hearing is now open on the item. Anyone who wishes to be heard, please come now or forever hold your peace. Public hearing is now closed. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, public hearing is closed. Welcome, Miss State Representative Daphne Campbell, for being among us tonight. And will now come for I said many times, whenever I open public hearing, please come to the front and try to make it and speak, because we have where are your roller skates? You should bring your roller skates. Come on, go ahead.
Okay. Silvia Maiolo, 800 Northeast 124th Street. You can hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. I wrote something about North Miami. Summers in North Miami. Some are cruel, some are guilty. Summer in North Miami are embracing people with unscrupulous and extreme heat. A heat that not only burns your skin, it burns the joy to stay outside. A heat that incarcerates people to stay in. Summer were the cement neighbors in the world of North Miami. Summer were the cement rain in the sun and the world of North Miami. I live here, but even that, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky because I live 3 blocks away from Biscayne Park. I like to walk. Even in summer, I like to walk. Summer in Biscayne Park are different. It's still a good season there. I walk around 30 blocks enjoying the nature. They don't have sidewalk. We do. For instance, sidewalk is a path for walking. They have trees, a lot of trees. Consequently, instead, this canopy smile of move with the breeze to join my day walk. Follow my pace. I'm sorry that I just wrote this, and it's hard for me just to correct, but this is a poem, and I believe we have a lot of cement and a bad summer. They don't have sidewalk, but they have a canopy of trees, and I walk up. Yesterday I walked 5 miles in Biscayne Park.
Thank you.
We can do a better city if we want, and the people who represent this city try to do better. No sidewalk. Put the trees, because you put sidewalk, you took away the trees, and we didn't replant the trees.
No, that's not good.
Public hearing is now closed. Members of the council, if you have anything to add. Mr. Clerk, roll call.
I'll make a motion to approve the item.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab E as is. And that motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab F. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, amending the previously adopted 5-year 2015 through 2016 consolidated plan and the fiscal year 2015-2016 action plan under the Community Development Block Grant and Home Investment Partnership programs to revise the CDBG public facility activity in the amount of $30,000 by transferring funds from Griffin Trail to Liberty Gardens Park to be used for revitalization of the Pocket Park identified with Miami-Dade County Folio number 06-2230-007-00930 at 715 Northeast 125th Street in accordance with HUD regulations and is referenced in the attached Exhibit A, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Thank you. For the record, Tanya Wilson-Susoro with Community Planning and Development. This is a request for amendment for the previously approved 15-16 action plan to allow for the transfer of funds from the Griffin Trail project to the downtown Pocket Park that's known as Liberty Gardens. The city has to amend this to be able to comply with HUD regulations in order to switch the funds over and allow for redevelopment of the Pocket Park. The council recalled back in 2014 there was a downtown master plan that was created for the downtown district, and the Pocket Park was identified as one of the capital improvement projects that was being recommended for revitalization in that space. So staff is asking for approval from the council to be able to transfer those funds from the Griffin Trail over to that Pocket Park.
Anyone who wishes to speak on the item from the audience?
Robert Houston, 1150 Northeast 123rd Street. The idea of a green space or a park in downtown North Miami is attractive to this resident, since there is no green space or pocket park from 6th Avenue to the railroad tracks from 121st Street up to 135th Street. So I like the idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see no one coming for public hearing, so now public hearing is closed. Do you have anything else to add?
No, that's it.
Okay, now members of the council.
Mr. Mayor, before Shirley,
Before
you have to explain to people that you're not taking the money from my green share
Oh.
to another district. You have to tell them the money is still there. For we get the money. The green share is funded by the CRA. And then
Correct.
that's why
So
you're
the
taking
Green
money.
Trail, as the councilman said, District 3's money is secure. It's being funded by the CRA for an actual trail, not just a park, but a continuous extension of the segment of Dixie Highway that's considered unused and closed, all the way into Griffin Park itself. So that money is secure. The Pocket Park itself is envisioned for revitalization right here in the 15-16 fiscal year.
Okay.
Question, Mr. Mayor. In this park, Mr. Jour, are you, this Pocket Park, are you gonna have benches? It's just gonna be green space, or?
It's both active and passive, so there will be benches in the space, possible public art.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll have an architect come on board to just activate the space that is really underutilized now and can have some safety issues with the way that it's appearing currently.
Awesome.
And also, I always, I'm sorry, I'm married to a lawyer, so I always think about the legal. There is no problem with this transferring of funds from one.
No, it's actually
Just want to have it on record, man.
It's actually required by this body to make the decision to change the funds.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.